Hi everyone, I'm Carol, Sales Manager at Acme Inc. Let me show you how my team sells more, faster, with less friction, following one deal from the very first quote all the way through to getting paid in the SAP Business One web client. Let's dive in. Here's how my reps build an accurate quote in under a minute, even out on the road. I can quote an existing customer or a brand new lead I'm hoping to win over. First, I pick the customer, then the item and the quantity they've asked for. The price fills in automatically based on the pricing we've already agreed. There are no spreadsheets and no manual guesswork, so there's no risk of quoting the wrong number in front of a client. One feature I really love is the alternative item row. Say a customer is looking at a premium printer, but also wants to see a more affordable option. I simply add it as an alternative row so they can compare both side by side without changing the quote total. Before it goes out, I can check the gross margin to make sure the deal is profitable. I can even set approval thresholds that protect our margins automatically. Then I email the quote straight from SAP. It's fast, professional, and right the first time. In SAP, once I've got a sales quotation my customer is happy with, I can turn it into a sales order with a single click. That means my team isn't rekeying the same details twice, so there's no wasted time and no chance of a typo creeping in between the quote and the order. Everything that matters, the customer, the items, the pricing, carries straight across, and my reps only touch the few things that actually need adjusting. They get to spend their time adding value for the customer instead of pushing data around. The one thing we always make sure to pin down on the order is the required delivery date, because that's the promise we're making to the customer. The moment I add a sales order, SAP commits that stock to the customer, so I know it's spoken for. From there, I can let SAP run an availability check automatically, or do it myself to confirm we can actually deliver by the date we promised. No nasty surprises down the line. And if an item isn't in stock, or it's going straight from our vendor to the customer, I can raise a purchase order right from the sales order without ever leaving the screen. Once the product is ready to go, I copy the sales order straight into a delivery. All the details carry across, so my team isn't starting from scratch. I can generate a pick list right from the order to get the warehouse moving. There's a full inventory management demo if you want that detail. If my customer allows back orders, I can ship what's ready now, and SAP keeps the rest open. For anything tracked by serial or batch number, I pick the right one so we know exactly which stock went out. I can also lay out how the order is packed. From the context menu, I choose the packing slip option and allocate items and quantities to each package type. The moment I add the delivery, SAP pulls that inventory from stock, and since we're fulfilling what we committed, the committed quantity comes down too. It also posts the journal entry for me. It credits inventory and debits cost of goods sold, so finance and I are always working from the same numbers. If I have tracking numbers, I capture them on the logistics tab so my customer can follow their shipment in real time. And once the delivery is added, the packing slip prints automatically for my warehouse team. Sometimes after a shipment goes out, a customer needs to send something back, and I can create a return request right from the original delivery. That gives my customer an RMA number to include with their shipment, so when it arrives, we know exactly what's coming and why. Because I'm copying from the delivery, I just identify which of the shipped items are actually coming back to the warehouse. Once the product arrives, my team inspects it and either puts it back into stock for a future order or scraps it. To bring it back into inventory, I copy the return request to a return document. If we're sending a replacement, I have the option to reopen the original sales order so nothing falls through the cracks. The return document posts the journal entry for me, debiting inventory and crediting cost of goods sold, so the books stay accurate without any extra work. And because SAP links all these documents together, so when I invoice from the original delivery, the customer is only billed for what they actually kept and can trust their invoice is right. Once we've delivered the goods or provided the service, it's time to get paid. And that's where the 8R invoice comes in. It's our request for payment to the customer. I can copy a single delivery straight to an invoice, or if a customer has had several deliveries, I can pull them all onto one invoice using the copy from function or the document generation wizard, so they get one clean bill instead of a stack of them. The due date is worked out automatically from the payment terms on that customer's account, so the timing is always right. The AR invoice is the one document we can't skip in the sales process. It's what actually books the revenue on our profit and loss statement and records what the customer owes us. And if for some reason there's no delivery behind it, The invoice will handle the inventory adjustments too, so nothing gets missed. When the customer pays, I capture that payment and it closes out the invoice. The deal is done. I just pick how they paid: cash, credit card, bank transfer, or check, and the amount. If they happen to overpay, the extra sits as a payment on account so we don't lose track of it. If they underpay, the invoice stays open until the rest comes in. And if a customer likes to bundle their payments, I can settle several invoices at once. That's the final step of the sales process in SAP Business One, from that first quote all the way through to getting paid. And whenever I want to see that whole flow at a glance, I can open the SAP relationship map from any document. It shows me how everything connects and exactly where a given order sits in the process, so I always know what's happening with my customers. Of course, there are plenty of variations along the way: upfront payments, down payments, unique return processes, serial and batch number tracking, and much more. But this is the journey at the heart of how we run our business. Everything you've seen today adds up to one thing: less time pushing paper and more time selling. One click from quote to order, no double entry, no pricing errors, and a clear view of every order from the moment it's placed to the day it's paid. That means a faster path to cash, fewer mistakes in front of your customers, and a sales team that can actually focus on customers instead of admin. If any of the headaches I walked through today sounded familiar, that's exactly the conversation we want to have. Visit us at Aclaros.com and let's talk about what this could look like for your business. I look forward to connecting.